All right, perfect. Simon, thank you for joining me today. You're actually the first builder story that we're recording here for BrainGrid.
Awesome.
So you get to be the inaugural builder joining me, which super excited about. And appreciate you reaching out to us the other day and sharing your story. That was a great story of how you've been using BrainGrid. But enough about that. Let's hear more about you. Please introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Great. Hey, yeah, my name is Simon. I'm from Brazil, and I build scale mobile apps globally. I'm a software engineer like for 8 years now, and have led teams of eight at the top agencies. I ship the feature for apps with more than 9 million daily users, and I have taken products from concept to seed funding. And for the past 2 years, I have been working as a consultant, helping companies launch MVPs, scale their products, improve the code base quality, and even developing the growth strategies. And for the past few months, my life has gotten a lot easier thanks to BrainGrid.
That's great to hear. And when did you make the transition from I would say, standard software engineer where you're writing line by line code to going full agentic?
I think it was 1 year and a half ago. Uh, so the experience for me was the same when moving from JavaScript to TypeScript. I think it's like a J curve,
Mhm.
because I saw a lot of potential in it, and I always thought that writing the code, although is maybe funny to say that, is not necessarily what a software engineer should do at the end of the day. What we are doing is solving problems through software. And that's when like I decided to move my like from more agentic flow workflow. Like had like I tried for doing that like at the start of like when ChatGPT came out, but no, we don't have a lot of context. Then Cursor came out, allow it to do a lot of different things at the time. But then yeah, that's when I moved to this workflow in which like I still write code and I still I think I believe that you should also review the code and read everything.
Mhm.
But like from writing most of the stuff now, yeah, a year and a half.
So you don't do much anymore. Can you describe what is your workflow like? What's your setup look like?
Uh, I start the work like getting what the needs are. So
Mhm.
like if I'm working with a for a client, I try to understand as much as I can what the need they have, and the main thing that I try to understand was the problem that they're trying to solve. Then from that I go do the research. I search like how other companies do that, how other apps do that, and how from my experience I believe that should be done. Then I go like from like a writing and doing the architecture of what I believe is that. Then currently that's the step when I get into BrainGrid, in which I take like this, let's say that I have like this epic, this feature that will have three different steps. And I should do the step one and step two at the same time and the step three at a different time. I get the first two steps and I ask BrainGrid like help me like create the specs for it. Either like from like solving the issue of a blank page, help me starting like the first draft. Then I do the review of that, do some like research based on that, and until I get like the final plan on what I should be doing. Then after that, I get each task, and with each task, I use like you can use code plan or even also a cursor play mode to then do the plan for the specific task that I'm working on. So like it's a lot of thinking and researching to try to get like the great as like uh thinking on how I can architect that. So like it will be something that is reliable, that won't break, and when I have to maintain, like everything will be smoothly.
Got it. And what is your like describe your development setup? Which agent are you using? Are you using an IDE? What does that look like?
Currently I use as an idea I'm using Cursor,
Mhm.
but most of the agent that I use is on Cloud Code, mainly because I think it's the more efficient cost wise. Then for researching, I prefer to use Gemini Deep Research. I think from the like for doing research is the one that is the more reliable from my experience. But I also use also the Cloud Code research and also GPT Deep Research. Then from coding, yeah, most of the time is using Cloud Code. Currently, I'm using Opus 45 as the latest model. And also when needed, I use Sonnet 4.5 as it has a million context windows. So like for big tasks and things that I have to input a lot of different things, it help a lot.
Yeah, you don't have to deal with the annoying compaction as
Yeah,
much as
compacting.
you're compacting all the time, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
So before we get into what you're building now, how did you find BrainGrid?
I found BrainGrid like when trying to solve the issue of creating like the system, my personal system. And like I was trying a lot of different solutions, trying to do my own solutions. But I found that you had like this issue in which first, if you have some solutions for a product developer, product managers, but the issue is that they don't have access to the code base. So like you can only move fast and do tasks related to the product management stuff. But at the same time, you have like cursor and other IDs and other tasks that they help with the engineering part. But the issue is that like they don't talk with each other, or like you have to be the bridge that talk between them. And sometimes when I was working across different projects, uh, having to context switch, and then I had to ask one of my developers to, hey, how do that work in that project? Because but I didn't have that project on my machine, so I had to ask a another developer that worked for me to research on that and then tell me. But then like with BrainGrid, what helped me is because like I can do the requirement and like the planning, having knowledge about the code base. So it's the same as having all the tools that I need for product management and also all the tools that I need for understanding at least the code base. That's when like I was researching and I saw BrainGrid. I joined the waiting list, and since I have been starting using, it's helping a lot with that.
And once you've started using BrainGrid, how has that changed your development workflow?
Uh, it moved it like it moved the time that I use more from organizing to decision making, and that's what I think that helped me reduce a lot of time that I spent doing the projects. As a sample, there was a project that I was doing. The client came with last time last time update for us to do, so they could get a new client for them. And no, I was a big feature, would take a lot of time, and like they have like 8 different apps interconnected. So like if I just went to the IDE and asked it to do something, it probably would take the IDE would have taken decisions that would compromise the quality of the architecture, making it harder later to maintain the code. And that's like why I would like to do the planning and do all the research before moving on to the code and then to create the plan. And that's when like BrainGrid helped me on doing all the planning, and I like reduced it from like 2 days that I did like for doing the research and doing the planning, like 6 7 hours in each like in some hours. Like 30 minutes I had the plan, but then like spend the rest of the day only like refining it. And it was awesome because like we managed to deliver a feature that probably would have taken 3 4 weeks into like 2 3 weeks, not 2 weeks and 2 days to be specifically. So yeah, like it helped me reduce a lot, like by a third of the time that we would spend building that feature at the end. A feature that made help the client to do this event that made them get a 1 million in revenue. So yeah, it was awesome.
Well, yeah, that is really nice. That's great, getting them $1 million in revenue, and you developed it and shipped it in like half the time.
Yeah.
What do you think the level of quality, was there a level of quality improvement by using BrainGrid and the tasks versus just sort of prompting it yourself?
Uh, for that, I would use my experience building stuff for my own. So like I was doing like this SaaS idea that I had. So I wanted to do this mostly vibe coding. I wanted uh, to test less as I could on the code itself, just trying to see how much I could extract from the latest models. And I did like 2 versions of it. I did like the version that I just used it Cloud Code, and I was just asking, talking with it, and doing the prompt. And then like to get the final product, it took like 2 days, 2 days considering like to have the an MVP ready to the market. Uh, but it lacked a lot of things. The code was a mess, and like I knew like I as a senior engineer I would have to review that to be sure that if I wanted to maintain that in the future, to have the less amount of problem that I could. Then I tried again using BrainGrid, and although it took like 4 hours to start doing the project, so it took more time doing the research and doing the planning. I spent a similar amount of time coding it, so like 2 days. But not only I had more features, so the product was more complete, but the way that the code was structured was way easier to maintain and way easier to go deep into the code and tweak it, move with confidence on my own code, you know. So yeah, that's the type of improvement that I saw when I did this comparison.
No, that's great. That's really good to hear. So, like, you sit down and you've got this idea, this feature you have to build. You create the requirement. You break that down into tasks inside of BrainGrid. What is your next step from there? So now you've got the requirement, you've got the tasks. How are you actually implementing those tasks? Are you using the BrainGrid MCP or using the BrainGrid CLI? Kind of walk me through that.
When I have the list of tasks, the way that I move on is that like I use the BrainGrid MCP and the CLI within the cloud code to get the tasks, and I have this specific prompt in which I run it to do the first task. Then after that, something that I like to do within BrainGrid is after like I have the list of tasks done, I then run like I have three specific prompts. To first one, I use a lot of Supabase for some specific projects. So I like to always mention, hey, double check things in Supabase before do change anything. And also have some skills within Cloud Code for the design wise, like to try to keep the design system as consistent as it can. And so like I also run this prompt to always add to the tasks things that I wanted to check before starting the task itself. So like a pre-task that I always add into all of my tasks. Context based. So like if it's a UI task, then I add the stuff regarding checking the design system. If it's a backend, API routes that you need to do, then I use the Supabase prompt. And after I have all of that, what I like to do is to, based on the tasks and what I'll be implementing, to generate the flows that I need to test. As a sample, I generated this feature that I wanted to implement a focus mode for when the therapist is doing their sessions in the specific app, to have like a focus mode in which like they can enter, and then like they also can minimize that to the picture-in-picture version and multitask and etc. And what I noticed is that like this can have like a lot of different flows and a lot of different things to test. And okay, I had a plan, but I also will need to test that later. So that like came like 25 different tasks, a lot of stuff to do. But also what doing this like asked to what my flow should be, like what I should test, the way that I should test, all the options that I should test. It came out with 13 flows that at the end helped me a lot on how to get like how to test the things that I built. That's when like manually QAing that I found some issues, changed some stuff, creating these tasks to change specific tasks. Then yeah, that's most of it. I create the tasks, I run in Cloud Code, implement the task, review the code, then go on to the next. When I have everything done, then I use some AI tools for code review. Then I do the code review, like to help me doing the find issues and bugs.
Mhm.
And after that, then I do use this flow that I generated previously to do run a full QA manually, and then write the automated QA tests and etc. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's still a lot of work, but I know it's very cool. It's very comprehensive, and that's great to see. Um, Once you've created that PR, have you tried the BrainGrid acceptance review from the MCP?
Not yet.
Ah, okay. That'll be interesting to see if you
Yeah.
get to that, because obviously in all those requirements and all of the tasks, we have pretty comprehensive acceptance review criteria to ensure that when the code is actually implemented, you can go back and it's doing what it's supposed to do and actually matches
Mhm.
the expectations. So be interested to see if you get to
Oh, that's
that.
great.
Cool. Let's move on to what are you building? So now that you're up to speed with BrainGrid and you've been using it now for a little while, what are you actually building?
Currently, I'm building a project for myself. It's called CoreCare. It's basically an application all in one for therapists here based in Brazil. So like I'm focused in the Brazilian market. And basically this is a quite comprehensive application that has everything regarding managing their patients, also the financial and handling the payments, and also all the telemedicine and a meeting one-on-one with you with their patients, which is since it's an all-in-one project, as you can expect when you have an application that basically it's like you have like 7 different startups in one. It's quite complex to move, and also on the architecture, how to keep things tidy and organized. And that's what I'm mainly using BrainGrid for. Because now I have this plan of features that I did, and I use the BrainGrid to help me move on, knowing that like, hey, yeah, I know after doing the research, I know exactly what to build, and what BrainGrid helps me a lot is on how to build that, not having to do all the planning for myself. That's saving me like tons of hours. And as an individual contributor, like the feeling that I have when using BrainGrid is that I have a PM with me, because most of the time, like as engineer, it's like PMs do like will always be asking you like, hey, yeah, keep organizing, keep organized. You need to do all the write the tasks and write the acceptance criteria, and then like yeah, working as an individual, it's time consuming and sometimes, to be honest, it's boring. But with BrainGrid, what helps is that it helps a lot. It removes the boring part of doing that, and like it's just decision making. Okay, yeah, let's do things this way. And what is helping me is that I'm thinking, like I believe, and the feeling that I have is that I'm moving not only faster but more organized. So it's a lot easier later to move on things and have to maintain them. Then yeah, but also like working as a consultant, what helps a lot is that it closes the gap between the product manager and then the engineers. Having led a team of 8, I know how complex it is. Like being the tech lead, having to review code and also do the tasks and talk with the PM, talk with the stakeholders and with other companies. But what BrainGrid is helping a lot with that is closing the gap between the engineers and the product managers, and is making both of them more productive. That's the
Nice.
feeling that I have been using it and having my team using it.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, you don't have that pesky product manager asking you to update your Jira tickets anymore.
Yeah, it helps a lot with that.
Yes. So what is your long-term vision with CoreCare?
CoreCard is a product that my aim is to go global with it.
Hmm.
Mainly, I think the mission that I have with this company is to take care of the people that take care of others. And this is like taking care of the car, like with what is more important. And this is like I'm starting this project, and like from a technical point of view, this is why like since the beginning it already has like all the globalization, all the internationalization. Always thinking how we can later scale this globally. And this is my vision, like is to create a product that will start and to be able to allow us to help people that take care of others, the therapists, because they also need someone to care for them. And that's our goal with this company.
No, it's excellent. I really like that, and I'm glad BrainGrid can be there to help you and play that role as product manager and help you research and break everything down and be more efficient. That's really exciting. Um, I think final question here is you've used BrainGrid quite a bit. What is one feature that we could build that you wish we had that we haven't built yet?
Uh, I probably would go with having BrainGrid more integrated with the IDE without having to connect it with GitHub.
Yeah.
It's mainly because I think that would make a lot easier for new users to try it out. Like sometimes I have like some projects like I was working with as a contributor for a company, and then hey, I need to ask them to give me access to the GitHub, and then ask them to give access to BrainGrid. Having that all integrated within the IDE, what would make the onboarding a lot easier, I think, for these projects, like Cursor did, like Slack did from a bottom to up strategy. I think that would also be great as someone managing different engineers. It would be easier when integrating within different projects to have other engineers working with me using BrainGrid.
Using BrainGrid. Okay, no, that's great feedback and definitely appreciate it. Well, Simon, I appreciate your time today. Core Care sounds very exciting, and obviously wish you best of luck with that. And really appreciate you coming on here and being a customer of BrainGrid.
Great.